Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, the Status Quo, Chapter 27, Understanding Material Nature, Text 22. So it's still on the... Okay. Ja. Nein, wir warten halt von mir aus. Okay, so, until we... So, spricht jeder Englisch? Von denen, die dort auch Deutsch sprechen? Okay. Yes, we are reading from the Bhagavatam. Every morning, Prabhupada institutionalized this session, so to say, according to Bhagavatam, which says Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya, where Prabhupada says regularly attending the morning Bhagavatam classes. So this shows how important and valuable Bhagavatam is. Bhagavatam is one of the 5 main elements in devotional service, out of many limbs or angas, as I said. There are many angas of devotional service, and 5 of them are most important, Rupa Goswami says. And one of them is the Srimad Bhagavatam, the regular reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada came with the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the main focus in our tradition is on the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is our foundational text. All the acharyas were reading, were commenting on the Bhagavatam, were using it as the source of our whole system, of our Vedic system, so to say. And Bhagavatam is also called Amala Purana. Amala Purana means the pure or spotless, actually. Amala means like spotless. Spotless Purana. And there are 18 Puranas, but Bhagavatam has a special position amongst them because it is, as I said, Amala, meaning it has no impurities. It wants to communicate the purest to us, which is Krishna, who is Krishna, and a lifestyle or a practice how to attain the spotless Krishna. And this is bhakti. But not any bhakti, but pure bhakti. So the Bhagavatam, with the commentaries of our acharyas, explain to us pure bhakti, pure devotional service, which is very, very, very rare in the universe, in the material world. Pure bhakti is very rare. The universe is not a place for pure bhakti. It's a place for sense enjoyment, for the opposite. And there are maybe different ways how to become spiritual, and there are also different bhakti paths, but pure devotional service, this is very, very special. And this is the focus, and this has to be understood by devotees. And in the beginning, we should understand it theoretically. We cannot, what else can we do? We have to understand it theoretically. The philosophy of pure bhakti we have to understand. And then we have to apply this knowledge in our lives. Because it's not just because we are now devotees in the Hare Krishna movement and we might be initiated and we might have faith in Krishna that we are already practicing pure devotional service. Actually, this is the whole point, to learn pure devotional service, right? To learn it, which is the goal, right? So we cannot assume that we are already pure devotees. No? But in one sense, it's not so difficult. From another point of view, it is definitely difficult. But from one point of view, it's very, very simple. It just means do any activity which we are forced to do all the time. We have to act. And you just do it for Krishna with the motivation of pleasing Him. And if we remind ourselves all the time about that, that's actually pure devotional service. Then we are pure devotees. We are not purified devotees. That means we might have still some anarthas and attachments, yes. But we are living in pure devotion, which purifies us also of these impediments. And then we are also, in that sense, purified devotees. Then we are completely pure in all, from all points of view. So the Bhagavatam is in that sense, in that way, so important, so special. It's a big book, of course. And we have to read it every day. And we should make the Bhagavatam, as did Prabhupada, make it our... As Prabhupada says, life and soul. Prabhupada used this phrase, make life and soul. Krishna should be our life and soul. Bhakti should be our life and soul. It should be our everything. And if this is not the case, because this is also a part of very advanced stage actually, then we have to work on that too. how can I make, we should ask ourselves, how can I make the Bhagavatam my life and soul? It starts with every day having some contact with the Bhagavatam. Yeah, at least some contact. Maybe not just touching it, okay, maybe it's also contact. It's also good, Prabhupada said. If you just touch the book, it's purifying. But reading, hearing. And if we are more dedicated, we learn to study it. And we learn to appreciate it and go very deep. We have to go very, very deep into the Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada gave this morning Bhagavatam class in any ISKCON temple in the world in the morning. Except there's some exceptions. Sometimes there's some festival day or some occasion, but in general, like 90 or 99% even in the ISKCON temples in the morning time, there is a reading from the Bhagavatam. And as Prabhupada did, like we follow in that sense Prabhupada, how he read, how we chant the verse and all that, as good as we can, of course. And then Prabhupada was commenting on the Bhagavatam. He wrote his own comment, of course, so we read his comment, and then the speaker has to comment also. And for this, the speaker has to follow in the line of Prabhupada. We have to follow in Prabhupada's teachings. And it's very powerful actually if devotees come together every morning and listen and ask questions. Prabhupada encouraged that, to ask questions. So we have to learn to listen with the motivation also to in the end ask a question. There's also a certain kind of hearing, right? You can actually, I recently read it, I forgot where it was. I forgot. But it said, was it even in the Bhagavatam itself, or maybe someone can remind me, that there are 3 kinds of ways of approaching or working with the Bhagavatam, and the benefits which are then given to those who are involved. And those who listen, they get huge benefit. If you listen to Bhagavatam, the reading, the commenting, right, the lecture, you get huge benefit. But even more benefit you get if you ask questions. If you ask questions, right, you get more benefit. And most benefit gets the one who speaks the Bhagavatam. It says that he gets the most benefit. Yeah. If it's done properly. Yeah, because he is, I understand it also, because you are quite engaged. As a speaker, you have to be very engaged with the text, you have to think about it, you're very on it, so to say. You're obviously for half an hour, how long you speak, very conscious about Krishna Katha. And this focus and awareness of Krishna Katha, of course, it gives lots of purification, right? So it's easier in one sense, easier to listen actually to Krishna Katha when you speak yourself. It's easier. Yeah. So it's a little challenge sometimes for the listeners. I know I'm also sometimes a listener, of course. Sometimes a challenge to stay focused, stay attentive, right? Sometimes the mind drifts. We get sleepy. Who was never falling asleep at least for a moment during a Bhagavatam class? Sometimes it happens, right? So it's a little bit more difficult sometimes. But if the speaker is very good, then it's easy. Right? Sometimes we had lectures where the speaker was very good and you listen and you just, wow, this is nectar, wonderful, great. And you can listen on and on. Yeah. So it's very, very purifying. It's very beneficial to attend the Bhagavatam class, to hear the Bhagavatam. And we have to have a long-term vision in that sense. We don't have to think only, now Bhagavatam class, do I like it or don't like it, this and that. No, we should understand this is very pleasing to Krishna. And Krishna rewards me with bhakti. Bhakti is actually something what is rewarded. It's given. It's given by Krishna. So we work to please Krishna that he gives us bhakti. That we become devotees. This should be our goal. I want to be a bhakta. I want to have bhakti. I want to love Krishna. Yeah? So Krishna can give it at any moment if he is satisfied with us. So this satisfies Krishna more than anything else. If devotees come together and glorify him. So now that the text is on the board, we chant together with consciousness and with understanding to please Krishna this shloka, text 22. Jnanena drishta tattvena. Jnanena drishta tattvena. Vairagyena paliyasa. Vairagyena paliyasa. Tapo yuktena yogena. Tapo yuktena yogena. Tivrenatma samadhina. Tivrenatma samadhina. Jnanena drishta tattvena. Vairagyena baliyasa. Tapo yuktena yogena. Tivrenatma samadhina. Okay. I think, yeah, I said in the beginning, in the very beginning. So? Jnanena drishta tattvena. Vairagina baliyasa. Nadina. Jnanena drishta tatvena. Vairagina baliyasa. Baliyasa. Matajis. Jnanena drishta tattvena. Vairagyena baliyasa. Tapo yuktena yogena. Jnanena. In knowledge. Drishta tattvena. With vision of the absolute truth. Vairagyena. With renunciation. Baliyasa. Very strong. Tapa yuktena. By engagement in austerity. Yogena. By mystic yoga. Tivrena. Firmly fixed. Atma samadhina. By self-absorption. Translation. This devotional service. We don't have to say translation when I say translation. No, we should know that after some time. So this devotional service has to be performed strongly in perfect knowledge and with transcendental vision. One must be strongly renounced and must engage in austerity and perform mystic yoga in order to be firmly fixed in self-absorption. Purport. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be performed blindly due to material emotion or mental concoction. It is specifically mentioned here that one has to perform devotional service in full knowledge by visualizing the absolute truth. We can understand about the absolute truth by evolving transcendental knowledge, and the result of such transcendental knowledge will be manifested by renunciation. That renunciation is not temporary or artificial, but is very strong. It is said that development in Krishna consciousness is exhibited by proportionate material detachment or vairagya. If one does not separate himself from material enjoyment, it is to be understood that he is not advancing in Krishna consciousness. Renunciation in Krishna consciousness is so strong that it cannot be deviated by any attractive illusion. One has to perform devotional service in full tapasya, austerity. One should fast on the 2 Ekadashi days, which fall on the 11th day of the waxing and waning moon, and on the birthdays of Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many such fasting days. Yogena means by controlling the senses and mind. Yoga Indriya Sangyamaha. Yogena implies that one is seriously absorbed in the self and is able, by development of knowledge, to understand his constitutional position in relationship with the super self. In this way, one becomes fixed in devotional service, and his faith cannot be shaken by any material allurement. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Bangung Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamahang Vande Shri Gurundina Taranam Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swavadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jnanena trishta tattvena, vairagyena baliyasa, tapo yuktena yogena, tivren atma samadhina. This devotional service has to be performed strongly, in perfect knowledge, and with transcendental vision. One must be strongly renounced and must engage in austerity and perform mystic yoga in order to be firmly fixed in self-absorption. Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada explains in this purport to this verse the importance of Vairagya. And he says that Vairagya is accompanying the transcendental knowledge. Yeah, so have Jnana and Vairagya, these two should go together. Yeah, and Vairagya, it means renunciation, right? Renunciation means detachment. It means no raga, right? Vairagya. Rag means, we have also a spiritual raga, it's very important in bhakti, but there's also material raga, which means attachment, love actually. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you should be free of this raga. Raga, dvesha, vimukta is too. It says in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? You should be free from raga and dvesha. Dvesha is the opposite of raga, means hate. Sometimes Prabhupada says envy also, means envy. Kind of Prabhupada takes them as synonyms, more or less actually. Envy and hate. They're very correlated, definitely. So, and yeah, it's the opposite of raga is this hate. And raga means attachment, love, a strong desire to enjoy. So Vairagya is the detachment of that. That means how to say, lowering of this flame of lust which is burning in our heart, as it said in Bhagavad Gita. This lust burns like a fire. Tushpurin analena cha. Where is this verse? Huh? It said this burns like fire. Yeah, and it's covering avritam jnana metena jnanino nitya vairina kama rupena kauntya tushpurin analena cha. This lust, kama, or raga, is covering the self, this soul, avritam, is covering our consciousness, and it burns like fire. So meaning it gets never satiated. As much as you do, you will not get free of the material desire. You will never get free of it. So we have to detach, vairagya. Vairagya means detachment. And it goes along with the jnana, with knowledge. Vairagya doesn't work without knowledge in that sense. We cannot suppress it, right? We cannot suppress, like this Sigmund Freud with his example of suppression of lust and desire and all that, will only make the pot which is covered like this steam pot boil more and more and more, and then it would explode. Was his example. So his suggestion was not according to yoga, which is do whatever you like then. Don't have pressure. Pressure is very bad. No, this is not good. Knowledge should be there. There should be understanding of our material situation, our desires, and how to deal with them. So, and when this is all done in devotional service, then definitely this raga will really go away. So then this is real vairagya. So Prabhupada says in a lecture actually in Calcutta once, he said, on on the 2nd of February 19, I don't know which year actually it was, on the verse Savai pungsam paro dharmo yato bhaktira dokshache ahitukya pratiyata yayatma suprasidati. One of the most important verses of the Bhagavatam also, 126, which also speaks about the elements, crucial elements of bhakti, ahitukya pratiyata. Without any motivation, hetu means like a cause, there's no cause for your spiritual activity, for your dharma actually, and without interruption. And if this is done, then you become very happy. Yayatma suprasidati, the self becomes happy. So in this lecture, Prabhupada was kind of asked, what about tapas? By some Indian man. What about tapas? And Prabhupada said, tapas, yes, tapas is very important. Some voluntary renunciation. And we do that. So then you might think, oh, tapas, okay, now we should do some tapas. What can we do? We can plug our hairs. Some do like that. There are some terrible things actually. Or we can make some strong fasts, or we can hit ourselves, or something like this. Or as we see on this painting, like Hiranyakashipu, what he was doing, that was incredibly painful probably, but he was going through it, right, and became very powerful. And Prabhupada says tapas. Tapas are 4 regulative principles. And as he says here, fasting on Ekadashi. And on appearance days, like Jamastami. This is our tapas. This is our tapas. This is our vairagya. To not engage in sensual activities. We have to abstain from that. There's our tapas. And as it said here, that makes us also very strong, very convinced. Devotee is very convinced, is very strong. Right? And of course there are many other tapas, like renunciation of our urge to speak. As Rupa Goswami said, Vajo Vegam. The Vega of the speech has to be controlled. Right? And how do we do that? We speak about Krishna. We speak only when it's appropriate, at the appropriate time. Truth has to be spoken, all that. And it's not difficult. It is difficult. It is difficult. It's very difficult. Very difficult to... Vairagya is very difficult because there's this attachment to do things, to enjoy, to look, to see. It's urging us. And to not do it, it's very difficult. Even if you say, okay, you can speak, but just speak about Krishna. It's very difficult. Very difficult. Vajavegam, manasakroda vegam. Then the urge of thinking to control that, very difficult. The mind has like a life on its own and goes wherever. All the remembrance, the desires come. And you think, finally, somewhere where I can do whatever I like. I can just think whatever I like. I can engage in my maya. Krishna is very... Upatrashtanumanta cha, it's actually said in Bhagavad Gita. He's the observer and the permitter. And he sees very clearly what you think also. So you're never alone. Never alone. And then Krodha Vegam and all this. So anyway, we have to control ourselves. And in the beginning it might be a little bit difficult because we are still kind of non-devotees. Especially those who were once non-devotees. Some of us might have not been non-devotees, but some might have been non-devotees, and maybe some have been heavy non-devotees. I was listening a couple of days ago, I think yesterday, day before yesterday, to an interview with a Swami who was, it was actually an amazing interview, I have to say. He is from France, and he was a skinhead, Nazi, rocker guy. He was, according to his description, what he told there, very heavy. Heavy person who, wanted to hate. And he said once he was in the subway and there was somehow, it was a translation because he was speaking French, so we couldn't get all the nuances of what he was saying. But he was saying before he was and there was some feeling of love coming to his heart, somehow or other. And he fought it. No, I don't want love, I want hate. And he was, I don't tell now the whole interview, it's another thing. You can watch it yourself, but Anyway, he was really heavy dude, beating up people and into drugs and beating up people heavily, more or less for fun. Really bad person, actually. But then some or other, he became a devotee. And now he is a Swami, I think even Guru, and extremely advanced. Chants 64 rounds every day, sometimes 190 rounds. It's completely fired up, Swami, everything. Right? And then he was asked by the interviewer, we hear sometimes stories like that, and is it maybe an advantage for devotees who come from heavy backgrounds to become devotees because they saw the negative so much? And I thought this question is weird because no, definitely cannot be like that. Yeah, you have sattva is closer to Vishuddha sattva. But still, at some point is there that when you experience lots of negative, you might embrace Krishna more. But Emilia said, no, it's not like that because you have all this crazy stuff still in your mind. And he had lots of trouble in the Brahmacharya Ashram Bhakta program and with his hate and aggression. And he never beat a devotee, but sometimes when that was how he dealt before with a problem. He just beat someone, right? So he had to learn that, and it was not easy, right? So this transitional phase in our life might be a little bit difficult when we have to deal with our anarthas, lust, anger, greed, all that stuff. Yeah? And then we have to learn to control that. But when we get the point of Krishna consciousness and start practicing long and longer, it fades out. It does fade out. We get transformed. Yeah. So the process works. Yeah. So in the beginning it might be a little bit difficult, but then it works, and then actually starts the real devotional service. When we understand actually what is devotional service, when we understand, and that's what I said in the beginning of my kind of introduction when we waited for the verse, we have to understand what is pure devotion. We have to understand what is pure devotion and how does it work. And Rupa Goswami doesn't make it such a difficult thing. He says more or less it's a sadhana. You have to just apply it. Of course we are not purified, but we can live pure devotional service. If we study the books and we apply it and we act according to this philosophy, this sadhana, we're acting on pure devotion, on the level of pure devotional service. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the instruction, the Rupa Shiksha, it's called, the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami, 19th chapter of the Madhya Lila, he explains to Rupa Goswami that when you practice this pure devotional service, Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadya Navritam Anukulina Krishna Shilana Bhakti Uttamam. Everyone has to know this verse. Everyone has to know this verse. If you don't know this verse, learn this verse. You cannot be in a Hare Krishna movement without knowing this verse by heart and know what it means seriously. This is definition of pure devotional service. So if someone is now, oops, I don't know it, don't worry, I don't want to find out who doesn't know it, just learn it. Really, for your own good. So, and he says, when you practice that, what will come? Prema. Prema will come. This is like a science. It's like a mechanic, more or less. It's a logical thing. If you practice that, it will come. And Prabhupada says it over and over again. Practice devotional service. Hear about Krishna, your heart gets purified, you become pure devotee, you love Krishna. It's nothing complicated. It's not, as some say, rocket science. It's not super complicated. It doesn't need a huge brain. Oh, you have to be very, very special. No, you just have to do it. You just have to do it, and it will come automatically. The problem is we don't do it. Or we don't do it good enough. Or we don't understand it. Or we don't take it serious enough. We don't actually take it serious enough. We don't have it as like a life's mission, an urge with which we wake up every morning. I want to be a pure devotee. I want to be, of course, I want to love Krishna. I want to have prema. I want to cry in ecstasy when I chant a holy name. I want to see Krishna. I want to please Him. It's sometimes a little bit, and maybe a little bit more, but it's not like all the time, like, but this is a sign of the devotee, a pure devotee, or advanced devotee. He understands that very clearly and really works for it. And he understands that Krishna is in his reach, prema is in his reach, bhakti is in his reach. It's not super far away. You can have it any moment. Yeah? But because our material tendencies, and through this also our ignorance, is too strong, we are not aware of that, of our own good, what makes us happy, and we are not eager, right? So this is the predicament, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says also, that I have no attachment for the holy name and all that. So, meaning, we have to, and that's also so important to have association with advanced devotees, because they have that, and we get it from them also. Because, as one Satyananda Swami said in a lecture, I don't know where I said, I'm amazed that devotees are still into conspiracy theories. He was like, how can you be interested in such a thing, This is so ridiculous and waste of time, but many devotees are interested in conspiracy theories and all kinds of other stuff. And just when he said that, it struck me, because I was interested in conspiracy theories. Probably I'm still. Right? So, that's our problem. Interest in Gramya Katha. It's called Gramya Katha. You know what Gramya Katha means? You're from India, you know what it is. Huh? No. What means gram? Grama. Yeah, gram means like village talk. Gram, it's a village. And kata. That's what people talk when they meet in the village on the marketplace. How are you doing? How is the weather? Nice weather today. Yes. Yeah, yesterday weather was not so good. No, but today is very good. Yes. And how are your children? Yes, very good. So, my knee. Your knee. Like the old people, they always talk about the knee or the liver or something. They go to the doctor, like this. This is Gramya Katha. Village talk, they call it. Village talk. And what should we do? Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha. Or as Rupa Goswami calls us also, the Gramya Katha, Prachalpa. And Prachalpa destroys bhakti. 6 things destroy bhakti, right? Atyahara, meaning collecting. Then Atyahara, Prayasha means over-endeavoring for things which are difficult to attain. Atyahara, Prayasha, Prachalpa, Niyamagraha. There are 2 kinds of Niyamagraha, following or not following the niyamas, the rules. And then we have association with non-devotees, and in the end, laulyam, meaning greed. And he says, Vinashyati, this destroys bhakti. We are not aware, right? This destroy. If we would understand that these things destroy bhakti, we would be very careful. And this is also why Prabhupada said, my devotees are not afraid of Maya. We're not afraid of Maya. We flirt with Maya. Oh, Maya, how are you doing? Very fine. Oh, good. You have time for me? We flirt with Maya. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, we are sleeping on the lap of a witch called Maya. And these witches, or pishachis, he says, pishachi, they want to eat. Witches want to eat you. So we like a very innocent baby sleep on the lap of the witch called Maya. And we, very nice. It's very nice. Oh, it's so wonderful. It's great. Oh, it feels so cozy. And she's thinking any moment, I will eat you. With my long nails, I will plug out your eyes. And then I will cut out your tongue. And I'll open your chest and eat your heart. And we think, that's very nice here. Oh, I like you. This is what Maya is doing. Maya is like this wonderful, beautiful lady, right? This like kind of prostitute with mini skirt and with long hair, open hair. I said, come. And you, yes, with a baseball bat behind her back. And you come and she smashes your head. This is Maya. It looks very beautiful. Maya is so attractive. What is Maya? Beautiful cars, money. Actually, Prabhupada says in the 1:2:17 in Bhagavatam that these are the 2 traps of the material world. Sex, or the opposite sex, and money. Very dangerous for devotees. Very dangerous. Yeah. And this is where we say, dangerous, maybe dangerous. I don't know, is it dangerous? I don't know. We are not afraid of Maya. We don't understand it. leads in the opposite direction. Oh, so the more we understand how wonderful and great Krishna is, the more we are taking this serious, right? So, and this is the interesting point, right? That Krishna is very close, can be here any moment, can immediately, any moment he can appear in front of your eyes, playing on his flute, showing himself. Any moment he can do that. But we are not interested. Yeah, Krishna, come, don't come. Yeah, of course, would be nice, definitely, somehow, like theoretical. If you ask someone, do you want to go back to God? Do you want to have prema? Yes, of course. But what are you doing for it? Like, what are we doing for it? We live our life as normal, like any of these Bavarian guys. Just that we have tilak and dhoti. Okay, it's not so bad, of course. But in general, right? To become a devotee, we should do a bit more. I have to preach to myself. I'm really preaching to myself here. When I say you or we, actually I mean myself. I have to do way more to become a devotee. There's so much more room for improvement. So much more room for improvement. I can only take this example of my past when I was on book distribution. When I distribute some books and the result might have been good in the end, but I could see there's so much more room for improvement. And it doesn't matter how many books you distribute, you think it was not much. Meaning, and that what you thought in the beginning, or maybe one day I distribute so and so many books, this would be great, it's a lot. But when you do it, you think it's like nothing. I could do way more if I would be more surrendered. Krishna can give way more. In the beginning, you distribute maybe 5 books, and you think, 5 books, it's only 5 books. I hope I can distribute 20 books one day. And then distribute 20 books, and you think, nice, but 50 books would be nice, and you distribute 50, and then 100, and it's never enough. Because you see, there's so much more room for improvement. That was like nothing. Krishna can give way more. This is why this one devotee distributes now 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 books one day. Because he expanded his mind like that. And I don't think he will stop now with 3,000. Maybe one day he distribute 10,000 books. So I don't know what he will do. But Krishna can do that, Krishna can do anything. So this is our interesting situation. We have to grab Krishna, we have to take sadhana serious, become very inspired, fired up, as he said, fired up for devotional service, and serious, and get the fruit of the bhakti. And Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit on the tree of Vedic knowledge, very ripe fruit, which gives rasa. We should be rasika. Rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Second verse of Bhagavatam says, this is the book, it's for the rasika devotee actually. Someone who's into rasa. So bhakti rasa amrita sindhu, the nectar ocean of devotional service. It's all about rasa, the taste, devotional taste. Yes. Which is better than the mature rasa. Yeah. Good, and what I wanted, and another, this was one point according to the verse. And another point or story, I will not tell the whole story, it's way too long, but today is, as far as I saw, today is Chaturthi, Ganesh Chaturthi, as far as I know, right? Ganesh Chaturthi. And this is the appearance day of Ganesh, isn't it? It is it? It's the appearance day of Ganesh. And it's not really in our Vaishnava calendar. Why should it be? It's not in the app. But it's connected with Krishna. It's connected with Krishna. Because one day there was like a celebration on the heavenly planets, a celebration of the demigods. And I don't know, it was maybe on Ganesh's appearance day or something. He was kind of dancing. And he was dancing in front of all the demigods, and there were all this Brahma and Shiva and Indra and Surya and Chandra, all the demigods, a whole assembly of the demigods, beautiful, powerful demigods. And Ganesh was dancing. And as you know, Ganesha is not known to be the most beautiful of the demigods. He has a head of an elephant, makes him already quite, different. Colorful. And sometimes he's shown as, look, fatty. And he was dancing. And one of the demigods, who is known as to be the most beautiful demigod, Chandra, he said he's the most beautiful demigod. He was laughing a bit about Ganesh. He found it a little bit amusing. Ganesh was dancing. And Ganesh became upset. He saw that. How dare you laugh about me, you rascal! And he cursed him. I curse you, that whoever sees you on my appearance day, he will get cursed. He will be defamed. He will get lots of bad talk about him. So on today is this day. And means if you see today the moon in the night, you should, I don't know what you should do then. You should chant Hare Krishna. Because you will get cursed. That you get defamed. Schande. In Deutsch it's called Schande. You get Schande. And there's a story connected with Krishna. Once Krishna was in Dwaraka and sitting there with Rukmini in his beautiful palace and was taking a glass of water, cup of water, and was looking in the water, and suddenly he saw in the water the moon, a reflection of the moon. He said, oh, and he was shocked. Oh no, because he knew very well today is Ganesh Chaturthi, and he saw the moon. And so the story began. So the story began that one day there was a powerful and very surrendered king. He was not a king, he was one of the royals in Dwaraka. He was a Yadu. His name was Satrachit. And he was so surrendered to the sun god that he worshipped him every day with great love and devotion and prayers, and he worshipped every day the sun with lots of Deva devotion, Deva Bhakti. So much so that the sun god himself one day appeared in front of him in all his shining glory. And said, oh, Satrajit, I'm so pleased by your worship, long enduring worship, and I'm so pleased, I want to reward you. I have a present for you. I have a very special present for you. And he gave him a jewel, which was shining and beautiful, effulgent. We cannot even imagine how beautiful it must have been. But everyone who is a bit into glittering stuff, or jewels, or decoration, you can imagine, huh? Like maybe some of you has a ring with some jewel or something, or sometimes devotees have this, the astrologer told me, right? He made my horoscope. Oh, this planet, very bad, very bad. You need special jewel. I can give. In India, right? The astrologer means like jewel maker. He sells you then the jewel especially for this planet, this and that, right? And then devotees have the ring with this big jewel, some big jewel of some kind, right? And actually, yeah, it's beautiful, right? It's like this beautiful Schmuck. Schmuck? Jewelry? Schmuck? Nothing else? Okay. Yeah. Beautiful jewelry, right? Some nice necklace out of gold. Or maybe, what is it? There's this 700 something gold. How's it called? Or 9. No, 9, probably not 900. And then you have a nice diamond or brilliance and shining, beautiful. Said ladies are more into that, but men also like it. Or rings, or bracelets, beautiful bracelets, gold, silver, white gold, or whatever, right? Oh, it's a big business, isn't it? Huge business. Satrajit got the most beautiful jewel you can imagine. And it was not just beautiful to look at, it was shining. And when he was wearing it, he was shining like the sun god himself. He had a effulgence like anything. And it created every day, I forgot the number, maybe someone remembers, like it was, I think, 12 kilos of gold it was producing. When you worship it every day, it was producing 12 kilos of gold every day. Not bad, huh? I wouldn't mind. 12 kilos of gold. You know, how much money is this now? What is the kilo of gold now? I don't know, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 euros. So every day, like 500,000 euros, like that. Puja, bing. That's karma kanda, huh? Yeah. So he was very happy, also to have seen the sun god. And one day in Dwaraka, he was walking into Dwaraka with the jewel to show off. If you have a jewel like that, you want to show it, right? You don't want to have it at home. Why you have jewels at home? You want to take jewels and be beautiful and look at my jewels. That's why people do it, right? The big Rolex or whatever. How late is it? You see what that is? Yeah? This is all status, right? Status symbols, so important. The cars that you drive, you feel very powerful when it's a nice car. Oh. So he was going into the city and was shining like anything, and it was shining so much that nobody could see him. And actually everyone was blinded by his effulgence. And these Dwarkavasis, they were running immediately to Krishna in his palace. Oh, Krishna, Krishna, the sun god has come. And he thought, because sometimes demigods come to the city to take darshan of Krishna. He said, the sun god has come. He wants to take darshan of you. And Krishna was playing, it said, what was it, Aksha or Arka or something? Prabhupada sometimes calls it chess and sometimes he calls it dice. So interesting. But anyway, it seemed that he played some dice. Krishna actually played some games. Very nice. So he played some, I think it was with Rukmini. And they told him that, and Krishna was just smiling. And I said, this is not the sun god. This is Satrachit who got this jewel and all that. He knew everything. He is Sarvakya. He knows everything. So, and then Krishna went to Satrachit, who was just showing off. And then he explained to him, my dear Satrachit, actually, you know, the best of the best should be always offered to the best. And the best is the king, Ugrasena. Ugrasena is the king. You should give this jewel to him. And what happens if someone is asked who is very attached? He became angry. It's like that. If you're attached, what, do you want to have mine? No, not possible. This is mine. Ahamameti is said in Bhagavatam. No? Ahamameti. His soul is illusioned by the conception of I and mine. But actually Krishna wanted to help him. He saw actually he's also my devotee. And he's completely in Maya. Was completely in Maya. We get into Maya if we become attached to material things. And become dominated by them. And want them and need them and cannot live without them. Yeah? So he wanted to help him, but he couldn't help him. He was too attached. The story is kind of long. I on one point have to stop. I still have 10 minutes, but I think everyone knows the story. You should know the story, which is a really amazing story because it's about Krishna and so many wonderful points are there. But to make a long story short, yeah. So then one day he somehow or other the brother of Satrachit, whose name was Prasena, he lent the jewel, and when I read it, I thought it's kind of weird because he went to the forest to hunt. I think, why does he take the jewel for hunting? So I think it was not, because we have to really understand the Bhagavatam or Puranas in general, but they only give like a glimpse of a story, like a little insight, but there's way more to the story. There's more to the story. Shukadev couldn't tell every detail. It's kind of some aspects are missing definitely in the story. So he was hunting, Morrison said why he was thinking she was just hunting in the forest with the jewel. So I assume, yeah, which is very tricky, we shouldn't assume too much, but that there was kind of more to it. He wanted to also show off, or there was an entourage, or there was another, because why only, maybe he thought it gives some good luck for hunting, or I don't know why, why was he taking it? And he was on a horse. He was riding on a horse with a jewel and was hunting. And interesting, normally these kings, they go hunting with an entourage, with many other people, but it's not said anything about them. So it seems from the Bhagavatam, either Bhagavatam doesn't tell it, all the circumstances about his hunting, or it was really just like that he was alone hunting. I don't know. So, and then what happened, there was a tiger, no, it was a lion actually. It was a lion. And I actually didn't know that there are lions in India, but are there lions in India? There are lions still, or where? Huh? There are lions, because normally we only hear about lions in Africa, but there are lions in India, right? Really? You have seen? You have seen a lion? Okay, thank you. Good to know. Yes. Yeah. So there was a lion, and this lion killed this Prasena. And now, very interesting, he took the jewel. So I don't know how and why, what kind of lion it was, took the jewel and went off with this jewel. In the meantime, back in Dwaraka, Satyajit was waiting. Where is my brother? Where is my brother? Probably he was thinking, where is my jewel? Where is my jewel? Where is my stupid brother? Where's my jewel? Where is he? And he was so frustrated because he was not coming back that he spread a rumor, and this is where the curse started. He said, and it said he whispered. He was not saying it loud, he just whispered it into the ear of others. Krishna killed my brother and stole my jewel. And it said not everyone was believing him, but some were believing him, and they also started whispering about him. Yeah, Krishna killed Prasena and he took the jewel. And it kind of spread. And some or other Krishna heard about it. And Krishna, as a responsible monarch and ruler, he was actually hurt by that, because he said, why are you thinking like that? I have nothing. I just asked him to give the jewel because he's completely in Maya, and now that. So he took care of it. He said, I will find the jewel. And he went on the excursion, like adventure, to save the jewel, to find out what's going on. And somehow or other, he found out Prasena had the jewel on this day and riding with the horse, and he found the trail, and he had a little entourage of devotees with him, and he walked in the forest, and he really found the dead Prasena, but no jewel. So he was shocked, of course, shocked. They were shocked, oh, Prasena's dead, and no jewel, what's going on? And he found also the trail of the lion, not lion, tiger, no lion, it was a lion. He found also the trail, because some or other they followed, and then they found the lion. But the lion had no jewel anymore, and he was dead also. Oh, a mystery. What's happening? Criminal case. So then Krishna saw some trail, some prints of some person who killed this lion. And so he followed with his guys, they followed, and they came to a cave. It was a big entrance to a cave. And Krishna said, oh, I have to go inside there. And he could see that his friends, they were afraid. Oh, big cave, dark. Oh, really want to go inside? Oh. He said, you wait here, I go myself. Krishna is so brave. You might think, of course, Krishna is brave, he's God. But would you go alone inside the cave? Sometimes we go to the forest and you find a cave and say, oh, a cave, interesting, but go inside, it's dark, and what's there inside? I have a flashlight with your small smartphone flashlight, and it's a big cave. Oh my God, I cannot see the roof, and it's so dark inside. Oh, let me see what's inside. How far do you go inside? Some are brave, no problem. Some are like, I'll go back. And sometimes there are caves actually where people enter and never come out again. Right? Yes. You can ask Govindadev. In South America, there are caves and there are whole school classes missing. Gone. Yeah, and they said the caves, they go down to the nether region of the earth. Yeah, and there's also one mountain, der Untersberg in Austria, Salzburg. It's very close to the border. Opposite of the Untersberg, there was the I forgot. Someone told me recently there was where Hitler had his house there in the mountains, and he had a view, direct view on this Untersberg. And they said this Untersberg is a very mystical place. And there's a legend about some king of ancient who lives in this Untersberg and with his dwarfs and all that stuff. And there are caves, and there are many mystical stories about the Untersberg that people entered and they went to some time portal and came out years later, or suddenly they were in some other place on the earth. They come out in some island in the Pacific or something. Some very weird place. Yeah, so these places are there on the earth. So anyway, but Krishna walked inside and walked around, what's going on. And then he came into a room, and there saw a small child playing with the jewel. It was kind of a flat cave thing. Someone was living there. So it was not just cave fish, so it was more like some house cave, I don't know. Yeah, like hobbits or something, they live in caves, things. I don't know. Anyways, I saw this child. I said, oh, nice, there's the jewel. Finally, I will be free of this, misfortune that everyone thinks I stole it. I will take it, I bring it back. And he goes and takes this jewel away from this child. And what are children doing if you take away their toys? Yes, take it, no problem. Yes, my Suchandra, my boy, yes, daddy, no problem, take it. No. Give me my toy back. Of course, he doesn't speak, but he just screams. So you have to trick them with something else. Krishna should have done that probably. Huh? Trick him, just took it away. Very unempathic. And this child cried. And immediately came the nurse. Some nurse comes. And the nurse sees Krishna and is so shocked that some stranger is in this house cave thing. And she screams. Like the women do sometimes. And immediately comes the master of the cave. Well, the master of the house. Who was a powerful, strong, big person. Huge. And his name was Jambavan. Jambavan is his name. And Jambavan is a very special person who is very old. He's actually very old but very strong. And now my time is almost up. As I said, it's a long story. Yeah, Jambavan was there in the battle of Lanka already. Yeah? Huh? Yeah, they call him Jambavan in Bhagavatam's Jambavan. Probably has many names. And it's always said, Prabhupada says, he's the king of the bears. The king of the bears. So, and he was there in Lanka fighting along with Hanuman and all of them. But actually, he's way older. It's said actually he's the oldest person in the universe after Brahma. When Brahma was doing his austerities to get the darshan of Krishna, what we read in the Bhagavatam, he said, sometimes said a tear drop because of his ecstatic meditation. Sometimes said a drop of sweat because of his tapasya. It fell. And out of this was Jambavan born. And another name of Jambavan is also Ambuchata. Ambuchata. The one who's born from the Ambu, like a drop, right? Yeah. So he comes into his cave and he sees Krishna with the jewel, the crying child, and the child was actually his son. And what is he as a good father doing? I fight you, who are you? And it jumps on Krishna and they fight. And it ensured a long fight. They fought 28 days, day and night. And they fought with their fists and with some boulders and with some logs and everything. And Jambavan is very powerful. So, and actually it was like this. When Jambavan was in the battle of Lanka, he asked Ram, he was actually a bhakta of Ram, but he asked him, I would like to fight with you. Out of like play. Because these are kshatriyas, they fight for fun. They love to fight. They love to fight. And when they fight and you hit this kshatriya, he says, "Oh, really good." Really good, but now I'll show you what I can do. And the other says, "Oh, that was good, but now." They enjoy this. And Krishna is also kshatriya. Of course, Krishna is a cowherd boy, and cowherd boys also like to play and fight. Right? So this is fun. The boys liked it. So, and Ambujata or Jambavan asked Ram to fight, but he said, in this life, you're my servant, this is not really our rasa. But in future, I will fulfill your desire. And this is when he fulfilled the desire, when he came there as Krishna. And Ambujata, he couldn't see that this is actually his Lord, Ram. So he was fighting 28 days until he was exhausted. And when he was exhausted, he realized, this cannot be a mortal being. I'm the strongest person in the whole universe. Only God can defeat me. And he understood, this must be Ram. He fulfilled now my desire. And that moment Krishna showed himself as being Lord Ram. And Jambavan was very happy and ecstatic, and it was kind of a happy end. Both were the Lord and his Bhakta. And of course, Jambavan gave him then the jewel. And also his daughter, he had a daughter, Jambavati. Right? And said, please also take my daughter. You can marry my daughter. So Krishna had this jewel finally, and he had this daughter of the king of the bears, which was a beautiful princess. And he went back to Dwarka. And there are so many other details to the story, and the story continues. And how's it said? Yeah, to be continued. This is how soap operas also work, huh? Stay tuned. Müsst ihr wieder einschalten. So, I cannot tell more because it's already after 9. So, if you want to read this story, it's in the Krishna book, it's in the Bhagavatam, and in other places, in the Puranas, also some other details to it. Long story, beautiful story. And in the end, Krishna, of course, he became free of this curse. Why was Krishna? He was not cursed. He was respecting the curse and said, okay, because, I respect the demigods' arrangements, I will take it on and make a nice lila out of it. Right? So Krishna there's no negative for Krishna. So we should do that. We should listen to Krishna Katha, Lila Katha, Krishna's qualities, his name, with bhakti, with the urge, with the desire to become pure devotees. And go back home, back to Godhead. As Prabhupada said, make your life successful. Go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions or something to add? Yes, Mataji. I will answer questions very quickly, shortly. I don't make huge lecture answers. Sometimes there are lecture answers, but I don't do that.
Thank you.
Don't be afraid of asking anything.
A nice lecture with such a dramatic spice. I was there's been a lot about Vairagya, all these controlling senses also. Yesterday Prabhu was talking. And I was just wondering, we still have the senses, we still need to satisfy them to some extent. And what is the right limit?
Limit,
I mean, that not to suppress it too much, but also not to...
Krishna consciousness in general, Bhakti Yoga is the way how to act. The senses should never be suppressed. No, we should engage them in Krishna's service. That's all. So you never have to suppress your desires. Problem is that we are still attached to material things. We want to engage the senses there. We just have to transfer the urge of satisfying the senses to Krishna. So we need a bit of a taste. So instead of listening to some rock music, thrash metal, heavy metal music, whatever there is, rap, hip hop, we have to get a taste for bhajan, right? Sing bhajan. So it's possible. And actually, this is not so difficult. Of course, many of us, they were into music before and had their CDs and whatever, or music collection. But when you get a bit of taste for bhajan, Krishna conscious music, the taste for this other stuff goes away, because there's so much ego and nonsense, and the lyrics are just nonsense. Rarely there are exceptions, definitely. Yeah. So, and then for eating, you have prasadam, and for association, want to hang out with karmis, good luck. No, so you understand the principle. I don't want to talk too long because you can speak so much, but in general, you don't have to suppress anything. And also your desires, your abilities, you can use them wonderfully in Krishna service. If you're an artist, if you're a manager, if you're intellectual, whatever you have in capacity, you can do anything for Krishna. There are just a couple of things which you cannot do for Krishna, which are not wonderful anyway, right? But in general, you can do anything for Krishna. It's so wonderful. Yeah, to engage your desires. You engage your desires, engage your senses in Krishna service and find the satisfaction there. Very simple. Okay, Munindra wollte was fragen, aber jetzt ist er weg. Bist du sein Repräsentant? Hat es ausgetauscht worden. Brahmachari-Austausch.
Ging nicht so schnell.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitai, Gaur Brahmanande.